The last few months have cast a lot of doubt over the future of West Ham United head coach Julen Lopetegui. It seems that he has been given chance after chance to improve performances, and he was not able to do so. He'd been on the brink of being sacked for quite a while, and West Ham fans were growing impatient with what they considered was just, quote, delaying the inevitable. Well, the inevitable has finally become a reality, and it has now been confirmed that West Ham United has decided to part ways with Lopetegui after just 7 months in charge. The club issued a statement to announce Lopetegui's sacking. This was written and published a few hours after the news had broken through several media platforms and even on TalkSport. Let me read the statement to you. West Ham United can confirm that head coach Julen Lopetegui has today left the club. The first half of the 2024-25 season is not aligned with the club's ambitions, and the club has therefore taken action in line with its objectives. The club can confirm that assistant head coach Pablo Sanz, head of performance Oscar Caro, head analyst Juan Vicente Penado, fitness coach Borja de Alba, and technical coach Edu Rubio have also left with immediate effect. The board would like to thank Julen and his staff for their hard work during their time with the Hammers and wish them every success for the future. The process of appointing a replacement is underway. The club will be making no further comment at this time. The signs of him being let go from his job did appear to be there the more it became apparent that he wouldn't be staying on. It was alleged that Lopetegui had cancelled a team dinner due to the uncertainty over his future, and he had arrived to the club training ground to conduct a training session, and he was sacked shortly after that. He still conducted himself with professionalism and stuck to honouring his job at West Ham United in the wake of an uncertain future and an unsettled feeling. I've got to give him credit for that. He's conducted himself professionally. I commend it. Lopetegui's time at West Ham was not always welcomed positively by the fans. When David Moyes left West Ham at the end of the 2023-24 season, the task of replacing him with another manager was going to be an important appointment. Moyes had guided West Ham to 3 consecutive seasons of European football and had won West Ham a European trophy with the Conference League title in 2023. When Moyes left the club, it did leave somewhat of a void, one that needs to be filled and one that could be built upon. Yes, some big names were mentioned in that pool to replace him, including Arne Slot and Ruben Amorim, but it was ultimately Julen Lopetegui who was given the job. Lopetegui had previously managed Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League, and he'd also coached Real Madrid, the Spain national team, Sevilla, and Porto, just to name a few. Lopetegui had left Wolves because of a lack of funding, and he'd taken Wolves from bottom of the league to a lower mid-table finish. He seemed Premier League proven in the eyes of David Sullivan. I wasn't exactly thrilled with the appointment of Lopetegui, but me being the person that I am, I wanted to give him a chance. So a coach with fresh ideas, a fresh mentality, maybe someone who could provide something different to the team. I wanted to give him an opportunity to prove himself. Would have been fair to write him off before the season started. Lopetegui and Tim Steiten worked together to build a squad and sign some players. Some have been good, some have been not so great. We started to see a little bit of a difference in what the manager could do at the start of his time, but things started to unwind very, very quickly. The club seemed to lack an identity under his style of play. The midfield appeared to become a lot more lethargic, older and slower. He struggled to get his strikers to score goals, a reoccurring issue at West Ham United anyway. The defence was getting opened up quite a lot. And he's had to deal with injuries as well. He had to deal with an injury to Mikel Antonio involving that terrible car accident. He had to deal with an injury to Jarrod Bowen in the last few weeks of his time as head coach. He had to deal with injury to Niklas Füllkrug. The striker options were very limited as a result. I'm not saying that's an excuse, but it didn't help him at all. The fans were quick to get on his back around October and November time. Around this time, he was given the same old plethora of, you have 3 games to save your job. This is the same approach that Sullivan had with Avram Grant in around December 2010. And Grant was able to keep his job for another few months after a Boxing Day win against, I believe it was Fulham. Lopetegui was given the same kind of ultimatum. And for him, he did win some games. The month of December, I thought, was going to be a turning point because West Ham did go unbeaten, but it still wasn't very promising. The football wasn't great. Everything was a bit sluggish. Fans weren't exactly pleased with him. And December was a tough month for the coach off the pitch. He had to deal with the death of his father. And the last month's been difficult for Lopetegui from a human being's perspective. So I got to give that compassion to him, in a way. The decision to sack him is one that is not a shock at all, of course. But it is one that has had to be done. It would have made no sense to keep him on right now. And I must admit that he's probably going to feel very bitter and resentful and nasty towards David Sullivan for the way that Lopetegui has been treated. I'll side with the manager on that. He's not been treated fairly at all by the owners. They haven't given a damn about him and his own needs. Maybe he's going to be happy not to work with David Sullivan ever again. Don't blame him. Mal Pellegrini said the same thing. But I'm just ashamed it didn't work out for Lopetegui. But he's a nice guy. And I wish him the best of luck in his next opportunity. So it's a shame that it didn't work out. But this is football. We move on. And hopefully things can get better.